Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, just one bear. Just one bear.
Hello and welcome to this episode. I'm Henrik from Nifrost, and with me today I have
Invisus of Blodhemn.
Hauk from Blodhemn.
Jon Ståle of Nifrost.
this episode will continue from the last one about Blodhemn and the story behind the band. And we got to the point where you talked a bit about Blodhemn. So, after this, what happened? It was Holmengrå, right?
Yeah. At this point, we had kind of got some attention and were kind of, in a humble way, starting to build a name. Yeah, there was some press stuff around the Blodhemn and the release of the mini album. I started working on a follow-up and a full-length album, which I started recording in I believe it was late 2011. Recorded in Conclave and Airshot Studios as the previous mini album. Yeah, and it was kind of the same setup, but with a bigger budget. But I don't remember saying that it was a bigger budget, or I don't remember how that exactly worked out. But yeah, it was a full-length album, and
So did you? How was the recording? Was it any different from the mini album?
No, it was pretty much the same, I think. But I think we had more time.
Probably,
yeah,
we probably worked more on the song in the band setting.
Yeah. That's important. We had I at that time I kind of worked on the songs and made like demos, very simple demos, and had like one riff, and we practiced every week and so we kind of played that song with one more riff every week, or like something like that. And yeah,
You wrote it in between band rehearsals, and then you or was it complete? Was the song finished and then you just took riff for riff?
No. It was a lot of writing in between and changes from.
Yeah,
we had to relearn a lot of parts of songs because he changed stuff.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I've never worked in that way before.
Yeah, so that's kind of I guess that the album got a lot more flavor from the live lineup than I guess any other, because it was kind of tennis playing when I recorded the riffs back home, and with a simple drum machine stuff, and I got to the rehearsal place and got the live guys to play it, and I usually got like, whoa, that's a cool twist to it, or yeah, I usually got inspired, or yeah, that's how it's gonna sound when you get it properly played.
So you never recorded any bass at that point, so all your recordings sounded quite weak before we played them at rehearsal.
Yeah, so at that time it was and I wasn't that experienced too, so I got a lot more from the live band guys.
Okay, cool.
I got inspired, and they kind of have their fingerprint on some of the things on that album.
And this was the same lineup that we talked about?
At this time it was me and Hauk, Skrømt, and Felix.
Yeah, that's the same as...
So it's the same as...
Yeah. It's the same
before.
Yeah.
But you Simon, you tried out the songs in the rehearsal place, but In the studio, it was all you.
Yeah, it was a kind today when we are gonna rehearse. We have to have a point to something to reach. Otherwise, we don't fucking care to rehearse, you know. But at that time, we had, I guess, a weekly rehearsal time, and it was.
We were younger and less committed to other things in life. So
Yeah.
Where did you rehearse?
Oh, that's a funny question. That's a fucking fun question. Because
in a church.
we rehearsed in what's called kristent fellesskap.
Yes.
In Møllendalsbakken in Bergen.
Okay.
It's to translate it. Håkon, will you do the honor?
It's Christian community or whatever. That's yeah.
How was that? Did you get any comments?
It was cheap.
Yeah,
It was cheap,
but
yeah.
did the people running the place, did they?
I think there was mostly hardcore and metal bands that play there, so I don't think they cared that much about the music.
The biggest concern we had was the no alcohol.
Yeah, that was.
Stuff. Yeah,
But none of the bands cared about any of the rules. There were like snooze all around, and I would say that's way worse to find snooze lying around than an empty bottle of beer. Yeah, so.
It's kind of funny because I still have the key for that rehearsal place.
Oh,
It's going on eBay in 30 years or something.
Yeah.
Rehearsal place, first keys.
It was kind of tradition that we went and bought a can or two of beer and then went to rehearsal.
Yeah,
and
was this your first rehearsal space?
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, after some rehearsing and fucking around with the songs, I eventually got into the studio, I think, in late 2011. Recorded the Holmen, what was to become Holmen Grå, and I started. I got the master and sent it around.
Okay, so you sent out the album to different labels. Did you get any response?
Yeah, was a couple of responses. I guess at the end of the day, I had like 4 or 5 contracts or suggestions on the table.
Yeah. How many did you send out to? Do you remember like approximately 20, 30?
Yeah, we guess between 20 and 30, yes. And I sent them all, I believe I sent all physical copies with like promo sheet and the old school way.
Really old school.
Yeah, I always done that when I'm looking for a label, because for some reason I don't fancy sharing an unreleased album digitally, because suddenly you run into one fuckhead that just uploads the shit to a torrent site, and then your whole release is because
A Russian torrent site?
might be. But yeah, then it's the floor falls out beneath the release, because what label will release it when it's already released? You know, so your whole sales point is out the window.
Yeah, that's something we didn't think about when we searched for a label last time. But I haven't heard anybody saying that it's on any torrent sites, but it probably is.
Yeah, I'm always scared of that. So yeah.
Yeah. So then you signed to Indie, right?
Yeah, ended up on Indie.
Yeah.
Signed.
How was that? Was it the reason you chose them?
Yeah, it was the most established one of the ones that offered the contracts. So I guess the exposure part kind of tipped the scale. They were established and had distribution and promo, and yeah. So at the end of the day, when we negotiated the contract in very many hours, we finally ended up with something we could live with.
And then the album was released. Do you remember the date? Or
It was May,
year, at least?
May 2012.
And this was on CD and digitally?
Yeah.
Right?
Not vinyl.
Not yet, at least?
Yeah.
Maybe sometime in the future?
Yeah.
Contact Blodhemn for if you want to release it.
Yeah. It's I can say for sure it's coming, but not when.
In some years,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's coming, and it's that's kind of cool because that's what I get most requests for. Is when is that fucking album coming on vinyl? It's in
Always some diehard fans who want everything on vinyl.
yeah, but I'm that way myself, so
Yeah, sure. Always better.
yeah, and it's kind of being creating albums yourself and getting the vinyl in your hand is kind of the ultimate.
Feels better since you're actually holding the sound wave of the album in a way.
Yeah, I don't know, but
It's via stage, but yeah.
but it's kind of the ultimate format for me, at least.
What did you do after the release of the album? Is there any concerts, touring, anything?
Yeah, we had some local gigs. I don't remember. Do you remember, Hack? It was.
No, we did a release, didn't we?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then
we had a
some
release and we had a
other-
second local gig at
This
least.
is too long ago for
yeah.
me to pick us. If you, yeah, but
We probably had
there were some gigs around
yeah.
with a few people, maybe.
And at this point, when you released Holmen Grå, you had Leif on the live show.
Yeah, he was still in the live guitarist at the time. Yes.
Yeah.
So when Holmen Grå was released, we kind of got more, if you can say, mainstream metal media attention. So in that sense, we reached a lot of people and kind of got a lot of new fans very quickly with the release of that album. It was very well received, and yeah, so that's important to mention in the story.
What did you learn by releasing your first album?
First proper album.
Yeah, not a mini album.
Well, what did I learn? I guess it's a lot on the experience tab, if you can say that. But all of a sudden, I was doing interviews for magazines all over the world, and yeah, that's that kind of stuff. So it was a big step up for me and for the band, and yeah.
Then the next album was
Yes.
Horseshoe. Was it anything that happened between releasing Holmen Grå and Horseshoe?
Was there anything, Hack?
Yeah, that's not anything big, I think.
Probably was, but
How many years
I don't think I
apart
can
were?
remember. It was
2.5 years.
two.
If you count
year,
like
yeah.
release dates, because Holmen Grå was released pretty fast after recording it, and Horseshoe was kind of sitting in the vault at Indies to wait for a proper tour to promote it. So I think it was done like in March, April, maybe something around there, and it was finally released in November. So sitting for a couple of months there. That's fucking frustrating to have a
Yeah, but that's how it is.
Yeah,
sometimes.
We know all about it.
yeah, I know,
We know
I
all
know.
about it.
I won't complain to you guys, but
But I mean, there's You just have to
Yeah,
accept it. There's nothing you can do about
yeah,
it.
but
It won't get released any faster, no matter what
yeah,
you
but
do.
but
You
in,
know, it's all
it
up to the
was kind
label.
of a good thing also, because then the ball was kind of in their ballpark. Well, if we're gonna tour, then fucking fix us a tour. So
Yeah.
Can you tell us a bit about how it was recording Horseshoe?
yeah,
Was it different from Holmengrå?
yeah.
Well, you brought on Eirik for something on there, didn't you?
Online, Eirik. He guested on Holmengrå. He did the guitars for the Black Horizon dissection
Yeah,
cover,
that was there, yeah.
and
sure.
clear vocals for that, and also a little a little part of clear vocals on the track Telehiv. It was the last track before the Black Horizon cover.
Okay, so he did the clean vocals. Did you do any clean vocals?
No, not on those.
No.
So he did clean vocals
Okay.
on both of those tracks, and the guitars on the Black Horizon
Mm.
track. Yeah,
Yeah, that's a quite a fast song.
yeah.
Play.
Yeah, it's like a lot of hammer-ons and pull-ups,
Yeah.
and yeah,
Hard to pull off.
yeah,
Half of
yeah. Well,
Hammer time.
I might be able to do it now, but at the time it wasn't.
Yeah, so he was kind of on his way to becoming a guitarist in the band,
No,
maybe, or already.
he was all.
Was it completely random?
No, me and Eirik Ånland has always had the relationship that we talked about earlier, and so he was. I wasn't. There was no doubt in my mind when who I was going to call when eventually Skrumpt left. We have played together for almost 20 years, I guess now. So on and off.
Yeah, it's fucking closing in on that, yeah. You're getting old.
Yeah,
Strange.
Yeah, so I know his qualities, and he knows my faults, I guess. So it's
all your fault.
yeah, we don't have to go through all that rubbish.
But how much did he do on Horseshoe then
Oh,
in the recording process?
he did the solo for the first track, Flammens Virke.
Yeah.
I don't know if he
Okay.
did anything more. No, I don't think so.
It's mostly the stuff you can't play yourself.
Yeah. On Holmengrå it was like that, but
Yeah.
but on Horseshoe and the solo it was kind of he does cool.
He's gonna play it anyway, so
Yeah, and well, not at the time. He wasn't in the live
No.
setup, but he's a cool guitarist. He does weird stuff, and that solo is weird. You know, it's atonal and this harmonic, and we actually sat. I believe we sat here in the studio and kind of let him jam on the track, and I kind of said, that's cool, keep that, and we made a solo that way. So it.
You were kind of the producer of.
Yeah.
Of it,
But
in a way.
I can't take credit for it. Absolutely not. But because he was the creative force, I was kind of pointing.
Putting it together.
Yeah.
And the rest of Horseshoe you did yourself?
As far as I remember right now, yes.
This was also in the Earshot and Conclave,
yeah, something like
Conclave,
Yeah.
and Earshot or
Yeah.
something. And Earshot.
Yeah.
Studios.
It's the other way, I think.
that. Yeah, it's the Airshot Studio thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
With Bjørnar.
yeah, I think I didn't mention it on the previous episode that but Arve Isdal was also involved a lot in in the recordings of both
Yeah.
the mini album and the first full-length album, Holmen Grå.
Okay.
And Bjørnar, this is also this is Bjørnar Nilsen.
Yeah, Vulture Industries and something more.
Black hole
Generator.
something.
Yeah.
Generator, yeah. And Arve Isdal of Enslaved. So was Arve with in the studio on Horseshoe, or was it just Bjørnar?
No, on everything I've done there, both have been there.
Pushing the buttons.
Yeah, but also I remember on when recording Holmen Grå, I got more input on more backing stuff, making backing guitar stuff by Arve and both Arve and Bjørnar, because I mainly just had one riff and play that, and that might be kind of sounding when it's kind of
Thin.
huh?
Thin. Sounds
Yeah,
thin.
thin because it's light, high tones.
So both Arve and Bjørnar helped you in the studio, but I think I remember you talked something about having to work beside going to the studio that time. Is
Yeah.
that true?
Yeah, actually it was the same with recording Holmen Grå. Holmen Grå, I remember, but it wasn't that hard. It was more. It was heavier doing it on the Horseshoe album. I remember because it was working full days at work, and then after work you have to go to the studio and do 5 hours or whatever for 2 weeks or something.
Long days.
Yeah, it was that was hard, and you don't work that hard with the songs back home, so it kind of kills the vibe and the fun, or the sitting there and doing the takes a million times. Then you kind of get full.
Yep.
So yeah, that was it was a hard one. I remember I didn't touch
Did you say you had a
Yeah.
hard on?
through all the recording. That material was that fucking solid, So that
Hard
that was the
times.
part that was exhausting. The no blood to the brain part.
Did you have a drumstick?
I didn't need drumsticks,
Yeah, drumstick.
Oh. So yeah, I didn't touch any instruments for like a half a year after that recording session.
With your hands.
Yeah.
And this time Bjørnar also mixed, right?
Yes, he did
He
the
mixed.
mix, and Christian Indregård did the master. A good friend of ours.
It's nice working with him. We also used him on the first 2 albums.
Yeah. Great guy. Funny thing I have to say about. I remember when I recorded the drums for some of the tracks on Horseshoe. That was done through a weekend, and I remember I had some buddies over at my house, and I was very restrained with how many beers I was going to drink. So I think I ended up with 4 or 5 0.5
No.
beers.
Oh.
Half liter.
Yeah, half a little beers.
Half a little beer.
Yeah, that was kind of the and I thought that I should be good in the morning after that, but I had a crazy hangover from that. So when I recorded the drums for at least Evig Heder, and I think the track Veiten 3, maybe one more, I was hungover as fuck, and I just wanted to go home. It was I didn't feel like I felt like I had deserved it at all. So it was, yeah, it was a bitter thing for me.
Do you remember when it was done in the mix?
When it was mixed,
And mastered, I guess.
when I was done recording it. No, yeah, I was.
Didn't you say like May?
You said
Oh,
May.
yeah.
March.
Yeah,
March.
well,
March?
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
You said that.
yeah, but that's I don't really remember. It's about it was early in the year, in the spring.
In the spring, and then it was released in November, and that
Yeah.
was in the mid of a tour, wasn't it?
Yes. I was an ID the head of Indie had at the time. That's a good thing to release an album mid tour. I did not agree.
I don't get it.
No, I do not agree still, but that was the thing then. So
But leading up to that, did you get? I guess the label wanted you to go on a tour.
yeah, that they said to me that there was no with how the market was now, there was no point in releasing an album without a upcoming tour.
I guess nowadays it's more. You usually release an album, wait maybe a week or two, and then go to
Yep.
tour.
But I've seen other bands do this too, that they released a new album mid tour. But I can't grasp it. Why the fuck?
You can't play the music if people haven't heard it.
You can, but you won't get you won't cover as much ground, or when you go out, you want to promote your new album. You're gonna play a lot of the new stuff, and you see the rows before the bar just piling up because this is not my song, you know. Yeah, I don't get it, but
that's how it was.
Yeah, let it never be again.
Mm. Yeah, released before.
But I guess you got some tour offers before you got the one with.
Yeah, I remember what
Great Mayhem.
The
true
true,
mayhem.
at least.
The true Mayhem.
Oh, they were great.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was a couple. It was I don't really remember, but it was expensive and it was out of the question because you know you wouldn't pay 6,000 euros to go on tour with a band that's just slightly bigger than you.
Yeah, it's no. That's a no go.
Yeah, quite easy.
Yeah.
No.
But Mayhem is
Then we got bang for a bucks.
It's a good
Yeah,
good
that
band.
was a good band. Yeah, for us to get affiliated with those guys, and yeah, I think it did a lot for us.
That was a fun tour.
Do you have any fun stories to share from the tour?
Yeah, I guess it's been so many years that we can't be criminally prosecuted for for the stuff.
Wow. Okay.
I remember the gig where someone had built a stave church outside of like a tiny model stave church outside of the venue, and they set fire to it after the gig or something.
Yeah.
Crazy people.
Do you remember what city this was?
I believe it was in Riga. There was that was one of the most shitty venues we played too, and yeah, I remember there was one guy in the crowd who had a skull. I presume it was real because it looked real, and it was standing in front of the vocalist, both me and Attila, center stage, and holding the skull up, and I had it painted like an inverted cross in the forehead of the of the skull, and
That's so weird.
yeah, but I kind of like it, the weird extreme stuff.
Old Skull.
Yeah.
How many days were you on tour?
Almost 3 weeks. 17,
Yeah.
18 days or so.
Yeah.
2.5 weeks.
How many gigs?
14 was supposed to be 14, but I believe it was 13 in the end. One was cancelled.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Due to the church
No,
in
we
Riga.
weren't allowed to drive through Belarus to play in Ukraine. So the gig in Kiev was cancelled.
But yeah, it was a cool thing for us to do a nightliner tour. We hadn't toured at all. So we
Was it just you and
yes.
Mayhem, or was it
No,
another
No,
band?
just us. So
Okay.
we
That's great.
so we kind of got kind of spoiled with that because now going into doing a van tour or whatever,
That's
we're not that keen because that's
No.
usually how it starts. You know, you get into a van or a Toyota Corolla and drive fucking to Australia and puke in every pocket of the car on the way. And we started on a nightliner.
How do you drive to Australia?
really fast.
Yes, and then you raise the
You
sails.
take a left when you get to China. No, right when you get to China. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was a cool experience. Also, the Mayhem guys, we got along great with most of them. They were after the first day or so, they kind of accepted us, and we got to be buddies.
It was fun. Loads of beer, a bit of whiskey, and
Oh yeah, because that was that was a lot of fucking whiskey. Because Hellhammer, Jan Axel, he had on his rider. It was one bottle of single malt. I think
Scottish
it was
whiskey. Or
yeah,
something.
Islay.
Was it Islay?
Yeah, I think so. It was at least lots of
Possibly
Islay whiskey, but at least Scotch. Yeah, and he needed help to to drink all those fucking bottles.
Yeah.
And
You went hard. You went hard to.
yeah, I had to help my guy out there.
I mean, if you're drumming like that and you drink a bottle of whiskey each night,
was
going to
the
be a
only thing he
hard
drank,
tour.
and yeah.
Yeah.
You're such a nice guy.
Yeah,
Yeah. You're really kind to help him
I
out.
always get into the fire for my friends, you know.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid. Yes.
Yeah, and then after the tour, did you do anything else significant before releasing the newest album?
I guess you must have had a release party in Bergen, right?
Yeah, we got home and had a release party in early 2015. But we also support, because Mayhem did the tour, the European tour, and they came to do some Norwegian dates after that. So we were asked to support them in Bergen on Verfta. And I can't remember. Was that in late 2014 or early 2000?
No, it was the next year. No, it was next year, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So we did that, and we did a proper release party for the Horseshoe at the club gig in Bergen.
Yeah.
At the garage?
R.I.P.
Rip in peace.
I want to ask you a question about the lineup, the live lineup, because on the tour it was Onneland, right? And you had a session guy.
Yeah.
And who played on the release concert of Horseshoe?
Wasn't live playing on the release?
Skremt.
No. Skremt, yes.
Yeah, he was brought back for
I'm
that.
not used to calling him that. Yeah. No, the session guy didn't work out, and he was never planned to be more on the tour, with us longer than the tour anyway. So when we got back, we asked Scrum to do the release gig instead. That would sound a lot better.
You got used to having 2 guitarists.
Yeah, and the newer songs are written for 2 guitars, so and I can only fill out so much with the bass, so it's
So he got back for the release gig.
yeah, only for that one gig.
That was
and
one-off thing that he did
yeah.
to be a good guy.
Yeah.
A good boy.
I think he wanted
Yeah.
back when he got a bit more attention. So
I don't know, but yeah. I think I asked him, and he was kind enough to help out. So yeah, it was cool. That was a cool gig. It's actually on YouTube, the whole gig with amateur footage.
there's a few from the tour as well, aren't there? The Vilnius one.
Yes, yeah.
I think.
I can't watch it, but
That's fairly.
but
that's not too
I have
bad.
a lot in the vault. We recorded
recorded most of it. Yeah,
a lot of the gigs there. So maybe one day.
And the special song with Attila in Stockholm is also.
Yeah.
I think we maybe have to talk about that in another episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good story in of itself. So
But we should move along, I think.
But the release gig, this was when you met Jan Exarim for the first time.
Yeah, that's right.
Because what's the story there?
Yeah, the story there is that I asked Skrømt about because is there any promising bands in town or around that? Yeah, we were we had moved up to be able to headline in the clubs in Bergen, whatever level that is, but yeah, so at least I like to give smaller bands a chance and kind of we always had like 2 or 3 support bands too, because we wanted to use our humble position to the benefit of any of smaller bands, because this was not that many years ago that we were smaller and needed that help. So yeah, so at least I asked him, and he said this guy Jan, he's he plays in a band called Djevelkult, and he's at least a huge fan of Blodhemn, and I could send him a message and listen what he had to say.
and that's the story of how we joined the band.
Yeah, so they played support for that gig, and then we kind of got in touch, and eventually he ended up filling in for Skrømt.
Yeah,
And he's been there ever since.
yes,
He's been drunk ever since. Yes.
he's been drunk ever since. Yes, true.
But he is a guy that you can ask him about something, and he's always happy to help, and a positive guy. to have
HIV
around.
positive guy, always. He's kind of he differs from the rest of us, because we aren't that outgoing and pushing our stuff, and so he's kind of a great attribution to the band in that sense. I'm not gonna go around town and say, listen to my band. You know, I can't stand that, and talk to the important people, or I can't do that. But Jan, he fix.
Yeah. You send him to do it.
Yeah,
Send him to do the dirty work.
he's gonna do it anyway, but he's gonna get dirty anyway.
Always.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he joined, but that was how long after the gig? Do you remember? Did you talk to him at the gig about
No,
the opportunity?
I don't think so. I can't really remember, but there were some weeks, weren't there? At least months.
The next day.
The next day,
Hello, remember me?
The next day, I guess the next day, none of us were really not into talking at all. But yeah,
that's true.
yeah. No, that was a good release party and a good party, and was good after party also, I remember.
Was it a
Yeah.
good crowd?
Yeah. It was.
Bergen's usually fairly good.
We were lucky in that sense. People support us, so should use the time to say thank you for the support during all those years. Cheers.
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 Oh.
All right. So then Jan joined the band. This is a few years before the next album releases. What happened between Horseshoe and the next one?
Yeah, I don't know if can really remember now what kind of gigs were in between there. I guess there were some festivals. We did Last Fest, and we did Carmageddon, I think.
Yeah.
We did the Section tribute.
Yeah.
With
With
you
you
guys.
guys.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It was was it 15 years since 10 years since the guy killed himself. Yeah, Jon Nødtvedt.
Something like that.
So
We can talk about that gig in another episode, maybe.
yeah, we will do that. But in short, we arranged I arranged the gig here in Bergen with a couple of bands playing covers, Dissection covers, and later on we got a job doing the same set plus a Blodhemn set on Carmageddon festival. A very cool experience. That's kind of the first one that pops up between there. Don't know if you have anything to add, Hauk.
No, that is the major. I can't remember. I can't remember any other gigs in that time. So
Probably was. Yeah, I guess the German one and all that. But that we can't speak of that. We can't speak of that. That's,
no.
but yeah, That's
Oh, the birthday
episode.
party in Germany. Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. Well, I guess yes. So Horseshoe was released in November of 2014, and I entered the studio, if I remember correctly, in summertime or in autumn of 2017 to do the drums for the next album, Mot en evig ruin.
17?
Yeah, I believe so.
That early?
Yeah.
Because when I see the timeline, you released it in 2019.
Yes, that's correctly. Correctly. It's not
Yeah,
correct, it's correctly.
Worked a long time in your basement there with guitars and vocals and everything. So.
Well, it was not only my fault. I did record the drums, as said, in 2017, and then everything happened for Vulture Industries, the band that Bjørnar had. They were releasing an album at the time when I was going to get my drum tracks
Mixed.
The edits?
Yeah, the edits and all of that stuff, and so that took a lot of time. And when he was done touring, he broke his foot. So then I was out of on sick leave for a while. So it took almost a half a year before I got all the drum tracks.
I remember the race that we had to get our Blykrone out, and you were getting your Mer out.
Yeah.
And we were ahead for some time, and then you got it out before us.
Even though it was delayed for us as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was delayed for us as well. It's what happens sometimes.
Yeah.
You always have to think that, okay, we have this and this and this. This is our job, and we will get it on the deadline, which is one date, and then we will release it maybe 3 months after. And then suddenly 1 year has gone, and you still haven't released it. That's how things happen sometimes. It's not a lot you can do about it.
Hauk mentioned you sitting in your basement doing stuff to your guitar.
Yeah.
Was it just your guitar you did stuff to?
Yeah, maybe you should talk about what you did with recording this one.
Yeah, because this kind of differs from the other albums. I only did record the recording of the drums in Conclava, as I choose to pronounce it.
We have to talk to Björnar about how to pronounce
Yeah,
it.
he has to be a special guest on this one.
Yeah.
So only the drum tracks in that Airshot studio, and the rest of the stuff I did at home in my own studio. And the reason that I eventually built the courage to do that myself was because of I've been inspired by you guys, because you always done it by yourselves, and it's kind of simple if you want to dig into it a bit. It's not that fucking hard.
You can do a lot yourself if you want to. Nowadays, it's easier than what it was before.
Absolutely.
And especially with metal, I guess you know, rock and roll, you maybe want that big drum sound, and then you might go to a actual studio which has a big room, so you can get that room sound. But in metal, you usually don't need
because
that.
the strokes are so often that you don't get the room feeling in between the strokes.
Yeah. So we have been lucky with my brother having a studio with Nifrost. So we've always recorded drums with him, and then we've done the guitars ourselves.
I think end product wise or artistically, it's gonna be better because you have if you're playing a riff that you have been playing for 2 weeks in the rehearsal room, and you kind of get a new idea while playing. Maybe a little lead stuff for harmony or a voice or something. Then you have the time to go down that path and explore. Yes.
Yeah.
And maybe you end up with that wasn't cool, but maybe you end up with that was what made this fucking song. It's just a simple synth line or a simple guitar melody So those things don't come as easily when you have the pay by hour pressure.
I think it's really cool that you got the confidence to do all of it yourself.
Yeah, and I have to say I need to thank you guys for that inspiration.
Yeah, just send some money to us, and it's all it's all okay.
But also you helped me out with equipment and the reamping box, and so thank you guys.
DI box as well.
No problem.
Yeah, that's right.
It's no problem. It's just
it's tennis playing. I hope I can serve something back.
He's drinking my beer today, so
yeah. So he's gonna puke in your hallway today.
Yeah.
So that recording that turned into the album Mot en evig ruin.
Yeah.
This is also where you got a new label.
Yeah. I also have to mention that I did the mixing was done by Øystein G. Brun from Våknagar.
Yeah, that's right.
It did quite an impact on the whole release and also the band, I think, because he put me in touch with Jorn. I don't know how you say it in the Netherlands, but it's Jørn just without an Ö. So Jorn, I guess. Who is the head of Soul Cellar Records. Eventually he agreed to release the album, and also me and Øystein tied a lot of bonds and got very good along during the mixing process and the nerding and the sound stuff. So yeah, I have to send out a thanks to Øystein and his patience.
So how was it working with Soul Cellar after you've been at Indie? Was it
I'm
any
gonna-
differences, or was it much the same?
I'm gonna try to restrain myself here, but it was the way it should be. You know, this is Soul Cellar is just, as far as I know, just one guy running a record label from his apartment. That's at least what I know. So he's idealistic about it, and yeah, no, it's not a profit and pay the rent kind of sell whatever you can mentality. And he's also he's also a friend, you know. And he answers my requests, and I didn't have that in the past, so
And now in Visus, what is going on right now? I think there's some new stuff.
Yeah, definitely
on the horizon.
Yeah, on the black horizon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm working on it, but it's slow progress. The kind of recording and writing process has kind of mixed together when you don't have to go fit a deadline like before when you're going into a studio. So for me, it takes a little more time and a more experimental process. Yes.
Anything new that you haven't done before?
I'm feeling confident that the people that's into the Blodhemn stuff, earlier Blodhemn stuff, isn't going to be disappointed. But it's a lot of cool stuff, and it's some different stuff, but also some back to the roots, I think. And sound-wise, I want to go back and go a bit murkier, and we'll see. We'll see. It's also some cool covers and behind-the-scenes songs going on that I can't reveal too much about now, but some years from now you will all know.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, covers and yeah, something off the Blodhemn grid also, but so I can reveal so much that there's a cover of Symptom of the Universe of Black Sabbath.
Oh,
that's
cool.
a up-tempo version where I'm doing the drums then, and I have some other musicians cover the rest of the track.
Or a Slack.
This concludes the 4 episodes about the 2 bands that made this podcast. Now, in the future episodes, we will talk even more loosely about music and beer and albums and stuff. If you have any questions for either Blodhemn or Nifrost, send us either a DM on Instagram or Twitter or at Facebook. Contact us at fermentedanddemented@gmail.com. And if you have any albums you want us to talk about, you can send them to us as well, and we will make a list eventually.
But is there any beers we should taste?
Or if it's any beers we should taste, yeah.
I like more beer.
Yeah, that's my favorite as well.
Or free. Free
Yeah.
is a good one.
But free is over more. Isn't it?
Free is better than more. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So if it's any beer, music, anything you want us to talk about, if it's any questions to either of the bands, we'll take them and we'll try to make an episode featuring what you guys that listen to this, you 3 guys,
The guy that listens to this,
one guy, the one guy
or girl, or
one girl, or
Two girls,
Or
one podcast.
2 guys, 1 podcast. Yes.
I don't know, transgender
Yeah.
person.
Hi.
Either way, send us anything you would like us to talk about or anything you want us to do, and we'll try to include it in another episode of Fermented and Demented.
Hey,
See you.
fuck off.
Well, okay. Yeah. Okay, just one bear. Just one. Just one bear.